Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, hour number 3. Maybe you're on your way for the Donald Trump rally, which is starting in about an hour or so. We received a few calls from people that were on their way. I believe it's at the Las Vegas Convention Center. I just got a picture on social media. Someone sent me a picture saying, look at all the white people at the Trump rally. I thought that was kind of funny. But maybe you're on your way over there. It's happening in about an hour or so. But the man we have with us on the line right now, he is known as Mr. X, also known as the Hollywood Conservative. The reason why we call him that, we don't give out his real name. He's a longtime producer out there in Hollywood, and he has taken a lot of backlash because of his views on politics and his support of Donald Trump. And he joins us right now on the line. Mr. X, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm not on the way to the Trump rally, but, sadly.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of people that are right now. There's no question about that. I want to start with big news that's taking place right now. Of course, the Harvey Weinstein rape trial. And it appears to me that he's probably going to be going away for quite some time. But what are people saying about this in Hollywood, especially lately, and how do you see this thing playing out?
He's unanimously despised. So I think he, has done his best to kind of become a sympathetic character, which he's definitely not. But I've said it before on this show. Look, I am very skeptical of the entire Me Too movement. I just think it's totally contrived. And I think that most of it comes from, ambitious women, along with, it goes both ways. Let's put it that way. And with that said, he's an exception because it was just known for such a long time that he was such a piece of crap. And there's so many people, he just made so many enemies. That's, I think, the biggest thing that people don't realize about Harvey is that he was such a god, and then he made so many enemies because he treated people so badly that nobody feels bad for him, and he has no friends at this point. And now that it all kind of came crashing down, the fact that he was also a sexual predator, like there's other guys who were probably in compromising situations, but it could go both ways, and who knows, that won't go to jail. But Harvey, because of the extent to which he went, and also the extent to which he was despised, yeah, he's in trouble.
What? No,
don't drop the soap, Harv.
You alluded to that. A lot of women they kind of like to, we'll call it sleeping up the corporate ladder, especially in the entertainment industry. How many of these? What percentage of women that Harvey Weinstein engaged in sexual relations with? At least in relation to the entertainment industry, do you think that it was a result of trying to, quote unquote, sleep up the ladder?
A large amount, because here's the thing. Like, I'm going to try to say this in a non-insensitive way. In my opinion, any situation, there's probably a moment where a certain decision could be made by a woman to get out of that situation. And, of course, if he was literally going into women's homes and kidnapping them and tying them up and bringing them to his house and raping them, okay, that's not what happened. Now, I'm not justifying anything he did.
Right.
But there's a reason that these women were even in this situation to begin with, and it's because they thought that he could make them a star. It was not okay for him to take advantage of that. In no way is that justifiable in any parallel universe. But this guy's this fat, balding, disgusting guy who...
Hey, wait, are you talking about me or Harvey?
Well, sorry,
okay.
it goes for everyone. But
all right,
no,
fair enough.
I'm the same too.
Fair enough.
But he was
a lot of parallels there.
Yeah, so the point is, these women were there at his house or in his vicinity for a reason. And that reason was not because they thought he was nice or wanted to be his friend. That reason is because they wanted him to make them a star.
Right.
So, yeah, all of them. That's the answer. How many of these women were there because they thought that they could sleep their way up the ladder? 100%.
And where do you think that Harvey really kind of screwed himself? Do you think that he was possibly offering women roles, sleeping with them, and then not following through with those specific roles? Do you think something like that might have been taking place?
Absolutely, and that's what I said about him making enemies. Like that's the thing. Like he went about it in such a haphazard, stupid, disrespectful way that like that kind of stuff happens in Hollywood all the time. And it's like there are plenty of situations. I've seen a few of them firsthand where director meets actress, director thinks actress has a nice ass. Director tells actress, if we're sleeping together, I'd love to cast you in something. Actress says, okay. They sleep together. He casts them in something. We never hear about it. That's the end of the story, And I mean, in the end, like if you're going around saying you can only be in my movies if you sleep with me, that's not okay, first of all. Mm-hmm. And then second of all, if you're then going around and saying you can only be in my movies if you sleep with me, but then also not actually putting someone in your movie after they sleep with you, then it's a recipe for a disaster, and that's what happened with good old Harv.
I want to talk to you about another subject that, people are talking about all over the world, but certainly coming out of Hollywood, and that's Steven Spielberg's stepdaughter. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know that.
I know her.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, this is his stepdaughter. She's a porn star. I am one of those people I have no problem with if you're a stripper or a porn star, if you work at the Bunny Ranch, so long as what you're doing is legal, I see absolutely no problem with it. With that being said, I think we all could agree many people that are in the porn industry, not everybody, but a lot of people that are in the porn industry have either had some traumatic things happen to them when they were younger or maybe some drugs, substance abuse issues. Again, not everybody.
Or maybe they just like sex.
That's why I say not everybody. But with that being said, this is a sad story to me. And the reason why it's sad is because she's done an interview where she said that she has had some sexual abuse happen to her when she was younger. There's no question that's probably part of the reason why she's in the porn industry. Now, you knowing her personally, which I wasn't aware of that, what can you tell us about her, and why did she decide to come out and talk about this?
There is no more unanimously effed up demographic of people than the children of famous people. Let me just put it that way.
That's true.
These kids, because they grow up in this strange environment where it's like they're surrounded by people who are famous and people who are doing drugs and people who are doing weird sexual stuff, and they just are all messed up. I'm sorry to say it, and she's not an exception. And like, sure, I kind of get what you're saying with regard to like a lot of porn skanks. I mean, porn stars are like generally have had some trauma or something in their past, and that's 100% true. But like, a lot of them, it's like a cry for attention, and like, who knows? Her childhood was probably super weird and messed up, and she was with people like Harvey Weinstein were coming around and hanging out at the house. Like, I personally could care less. I don't even know why this is a story, to be honest. Like, if she wants to be a porn star or a porn producer or whatever she wants to do, fine. I don't care. Like, do whatever you want.
I think it's a story because maybe the implication is that someone that Steven Spielberg knows or knew might have sexually abused her in the industry. I think that's why it's a story.
I have no doubt that they might have. Things are weird. You got this, like, let's presumably say cute young daughter who's always hanging around with these weird actors who are already weird in general. Actors are weird. They're the weirdest people. I deal with them day in and day out.
Can I ask you this, though? I ask you, who is your least favorite son or daughter of somebody famous that you can tell us on the air right
now? Oh, man. Well, I guess since I'm anonymous, I can let's say it rhymes with Boomer Billis, and I think you guys can probably figure it out yourselves. Her dad was at Nakatomi Plaza on Christmas in the 80s. Let's put it that way.
Oh wait, you must be talking about Boomer Esiason. No,
right,
I know.
I think he's talking about Hans Gruber.
That's who it was.
I'm pretty sure he's talking about the man who had Demi Moore for a little while. Yes,
I'll tell you
who I'm speaking.
One
of my favorite actors. Yeah,
Boomer Hillis has an interesting.
We could just say his name. This is ridiculous.
Facial structure. We'll put it that way.
Rumors. Yes, she's an odd-looking one. She looks like a drawing from the show Family Guy. She looks a little like Quagmire.
I'm drawing a blank here.
That's very true.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High when he was younger. He's an Oscar-winning actor.
Sean Penn.
Sean Penn's son is a douchebag. Okay, he just is.
I mean, look at Sean Penn. That guy is like. He is an absolute lunatic. Like, that guy is going to be killed by terrorists or something at some point. I mean,
wasn't he hanging out with El Chapo a few years ago? That wasn't that a whole big controversy?
I kind of liked him in Milk, though.
He's a great actor,
Listen, he's
but
gifted.
that guy also too.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to talk about Harvey. I mean, have you seen Sean Penn's girlfriend?
I have not actually. No, I haven't.
Well, I have. I believe she's 23, and
Oh, wow.
Sean Penn is definitely 60 at least. He might even be older. I mean, he is a piece of work. That guy. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Mr. X, you mentioned how actors are the weirdest people on earth. What makes them so weird? Why do you say that?
Before I say that, could we set up a pay-per-view fight between Sean Penn and James Woods, and we put these two geriatric guys in the ring and just pay? I would pay at least $50 to watch these guys. So
Yeah, that's fair.
and by the way,
isn't
what
Woods
makes
early 80s?
I don't care. He could probably still kick Sean Penn's ass, to be honest. But he probably
He's definitely
is.
smarter than him.
Oh, his Twitter is one of my favorites.
It is kind of
Hey, I
funny.
want to talk.
To answer JD's question, though, what makes actors so messed up? It's just a weird industry. You're pretending to be these different characters all the time. And I have a theory that you go out there and you train yourself or a method actor, and you pretend for 6 months or 8 months to be a hardcore drug addict, and you pretend to be a womanizer, you pretend to be a Nazi, and it just starts to mess with you, man. Like your brain, in order to put on a good performance, your brain has to listen to what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, let's talk about your buddy Donald Trump for a second, because I think this is a perfect example of what you actually just brought up.
Brains not
You
listening to
just
body.
interrupted a very, very profound explanation.
Okay,
Brian.
well, let's.
No, it's fine.
I want to get his
I'm going to ask you to continue.
I want to get his profound explanation on Parasite, the movie Parasite, because as you know, it won awards, the Oscars, and then Donald Trump said, by the way, how bad were the Academy Awards this year? He said the winner is a movie from South Korea. What the hell was that all about? We've got enough problems with South Korea with trade, and after all that, they gave them Best Movie of the Year. Well, the people from Parasite have fought back, and they said it's understandable he said that because he can't read. What are your thoughts on that?
The Parasite filmmakers are probably right, to be honest. I mean, I think Trump probably can read, at least at like a fundamental level, like books like Go Cat Go and stuff like that. But his understanding of cinema, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. Parasite's amazing, and it's obviously Trump only says things, from a political perspective. And he's never gonna, let's put it this way, if Bong Joon-ho at some point during the awards circuit had come out and said that he likes Trump would be praising that movie. No matter where it was made. It's pure politics with him. He doesn't care. He probably never even saw the movie, to be honest. So, it's not his opinion on art. If you're listening to Donald Trump for movie suggestions, I don't know what to tell you.
That's true.
Enjoy the Top Gun remake or whatever he likes.
That's true. That's a valid point. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with the Hollywood Conservative Mr.X. He is a supporter of. Hold on.
I bet that Michael Bloomberg's favorite movie is Pretty Woman.
Let me just reintroduce Mr. X to our listeners. He is the Hollywood Conservative. He is also a Donald Trump supporter, but doesn't give out his real name on the show because of the backlash people in Hollywood receive for being on the right, for being Trump supporters. I wanted to ask you, speaking of Trump again, I want to ask you a little bit about the debates that took place in Vegas the other night. I thought it was a very entertaining debate, Mr. X. I don't know.
The best comedy of 2020 so far.
It was entertaining. I mean, it really was. Maybe that's not good for the Democratic Party, and maybe that's not good for the country. But I actually enjoyed it when Elizabeth Warren brought up the term horse-faced lesbians. Thought that was funny. I also thought it was great when Klobuchar was convulsing. She looked like she was a porn star herself when Buttigieg went after her for not knowing the president of Mexico. What was your take on the debate, and what did you think of it?
My take coming out of the Democratic debate is probably a hot take. I think this might be newsworthy itself. I think that the Democratic candidate is going to be Bloomberg.
After that debate, really? After that performance?
Here's the thing. These guys are all so stupid. I mean, literally Buttigieg is the only one who seems to actually have something resembling a brain. I mean, Warren is a complete lunatic. Sanders is like a cartoon character. Biden, I was literally waiting for Biden's eyes to start dripping blood during the thing. He's just so sick. Bloomberg is Trump part 2. And the most important thing is the guy's worth, what, $50 billion?
$65 billion.
He'll buy it. He'll just buy it. I mean, like, money is so important in this, and it's just such a factor. I mean, he'll just go and tell he could just be like, if you elect me, I'm going to give every American $10,000, and he'll get, like, he's going to pull some crazy stunt like that because there's just no other option. Like, is it going to be Sanders? Like, I still just think that he's too radical.
Don't count out Joe Biden. Don't count out Joe Biden yet. I'm
counting out Joe Biden. Sorry, man.
Right,
that guy he's not going to make it to election day.
All right. Well, listen, if you asked me who is the best opportunity to beat Donald Trump, it would not be Bloomberg. I don't think Bloomberg is very good on the debate stage. Trump is, and he would destroy him, number one. I think the best person on that stage, maybe I'm a little biased, but you mentioned his name. I think the best person on that stage that would be fit to defeat Donald Trump would be Pete Buttigieg.
I agree with you, and he's actually my favorite of the Democratic candidates. I just don't know if he has the support, and I still do think, unfortunately, that there is a little bit too much deep-seated bias in places like the South where they just won't vote for a gay president.
Well,
they just won't.
I think that Pete Buttigieg would be the best one to debate Donald Trump. But, when push comes to shove, let's say he destroys Trump in a debate, it doesn't matter. He's still 37 years old. He was mayor of a town of 50,000 people. He has a little bit of military experience. I mean, he just doesn't have.
Well, hold on a second. Donald Trump had zero military experience. Donald Trump had zero experience in politics.
Has been involved.
Trump's a war hero. What are you talking about?
Yeah, a bone sport hero. That's what he is.
He's been involved in high-level business for a long time. And again, 37 years old. At 37 years old, you haven't really seen the negative side of things. You haven't really been screwed over.
You can't compare the resumes when it comes to
politics.
Pete Buttigieg is a
yes,
hero.
You can. No,
Pete Buttigieg is a war hero.
I think that foreign countries would have an issue with Pete Buttigieg, a gay man, being president of the United States. I think they would perceive us as weak.
If you want to make that statement, that's fine. But if you're going to say
it's a combination of things. I think there's inherent biases, but also too, I think that Bloomberg actually has the best narrative to beat Trump because he's basically what Trump wishes he was. I mean, he's a self-made multi-billionaire. There's no rumors about him ever going bankrupt. He'll show his tax returns and we'll all just cry because, like, I think that is, and honestly, like, this country right now and politics in this country are just pure anger. That's all it is. Like, eloquence, who cares? People don't care about that. That's not what they're interested in right now. They just like fighting and anger and being mean to each other. That's politics in America right now. And so I think that Bloomberg at least has that platform to be able to needle Trump to the extent of just like, look, like you're this guy, you're worth a little bit of money and you made it where you're at, but look at me. I mean, look what I've done. And I for whatever reason, and also, I mean, have you guys, I'm on, be perfectly honest, I'm in prep on a movie, so I'm not like the most up to date on politics, but isn't there some rumors that it's going to go to like this brokered convention or something like that? Like, is that a possibility?
I didn't hear about that. That's possible. I don't know. That's not something that I've heard, but I guess anything is possible in this day and age in politics. So who knows?
I've heard a bunch about that, and I think if that happens, it'll be Bloomberg because he'll just buy everybody.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Bloomberg is going to be the guy. Listen, Bernie Sanders is the front runner, and I don't think many Democrats that are running the party. I don't even know who they want, but I don't think it's Bernie Sanders. I wanted to ask you something. We had a caller that called in that wanted to ask you about what is your favorite Bond movie. What would you say to that?
My favorite, I think, so I haven't seen them all, I'll be honest with you. I want to say my favorite, I think it was in or on Her Majesty's Secret Service. It was a Sean Connery one. And honestly, like, I'm not actually that huge of a fan of the Bond movies. Like, to me, they're all kind of the same. They're all great, but not like exceptional. I actually really liked Casino Royale.
That's a good one.
Obviously, like, that's a more recent one, but Connery was my favorite Bond for sure. Like, I have very fond memories of watching, all of those when I was a kid. And I want to make sure that because I liked Roger Moore as well. But yeah, I mean, they're not my favorite sort of genre or demographic of film, to be honest.
Mr. X, the just back to the actors, the most weird actor you've ever encountered and why? What made them so weird?
Well, I did a movie that I directed with David Arquette, and he was just a mess. I mean, he was incredibly coked up, and he was unable to really communicate. I mean, I guess that's not weird. Like, I spent a little bit of time
are you saying like autistic or Asperger's or spectrum?
He was just a nutcase. Like, he was just an angry, strange man. Directing him, he was talking to himself, and he was going outside to his car and sitting in his car, and I could see him yelling at no one, like the scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Like, he was just a bit of a lunatic. I've spent a little time with Mickey Rourke. He was an oddball.
Mickey's a weird guy, but I don't think he's a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just been through a lot, and so he's kind of a little bit of a jerk. But he's not. I don't think he means badly or anything. He's just kind of
great
kind
actor.
Of
The Wrestler, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, I mean Mickey Rourke is. I mean, it has Evan Rachel Wood, who's my least favorite human on the planet, but it's definitely an amazing movie.
Fair enough. Again, he's Mr. X, the Hollywood Conservative. All right, so what's going on this weekend in Hollywood? Where are some of the hot spots that you're going to be at? You're this hotshot producer. Are you going to hang out on the Sunset Strip, Santa Monica Boulevard? What's going on?
Probably not. I'm actually binge watching a show right now that is the best portrayal of Hollywood I've ever seen. Literally, it's the show BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
Like it is so good, and it's an animated show about a talking horse, mind you, but it is phenomenal. It's about a has-been actor who was a horse who was on like a Family Matters type show in the 90s, and now he's just a loser. And it's so. You
reminded me of one of my favorite horse movies where the horse is talking. That would be Hot to Trot with the very famous and popular Bobcat Goldthwait.
Classic.
Yeah, the police academy.
I was thinking about Johnny Bananas with Johnny Drama.
Oh yeah,
Entourage.
Yep, and obviously Mr. Ed, which is the penultimate talking horse.
Of course.
Drama.
Yeah. Well, listen, don't talk about Stormy Daniels that way. That's not very nice. Anyway, we have to go on break, my friend. Here, take a break, pay the bills. But Mr. X, always appreciate it when you join us. The Hollywood
Conservative.
Conservative.
Ask Bernie Sanders to pay your bills? Isn't that how it works?
What are you talking about? No, that was my Bernie Sanders impression.
Really great.
I'll stick to Larry David for that. All right, Mr. X, thanks for your time, my friend.
See you later, Mr. X.
Catch up with you next week.
Bye.
He is Mr. X, the Hollywood Conservative.
You sounded like Adam Sandler in Hotel Transylvania, by the way.
Is that what I sounded like?
What are you talking about?
We need minimum wage, $15 an hour. We need to take care of the middle class. I sounded a little Russian there. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
I can't do it. Larry David is
your voice isn't low enough for it.
Yeah. So what is this? I don't know. I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I'm not a good,
that was your best one.
I'm not an impersonator.
By far.
I could do Barack Obama. Let me be clear. That's my best Barack.
We could actually. I think we should do a segment at some point where we only do impressions because
that would be horrible.
I have some pretty solid impressions that I've just kind of kept.
All right, you ready?
Kept in my back pocket.
Okay, ready? I got an impersonation. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is my impersonation of you the first hour and a half of the show. Was that a good impersonation?
Oh, man.
I thought that was pretty good. That was spot on.
Did you go to miming school?
I thought that was kind of funny at your expense.
Are you a Charlie Chaplin fan?
No, I'm not. I don't like anything.
I actually am. I think he's very talented.
We got to take a quick break. All right, when we come back, Mike Babcock, TMZ Sports next. You are listening to the Vegas Take.